Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we are honoured to have a guy all the way from Afghanistan, one of the countries that's dear to my heart. It's a beautiful landscape. And he's going to give us his experience of coming to England, leaving Afghanistan, and just, opinion on what situation is today. So nice to have you here today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So tell us, what age did you leave Afghanistan and what was the situation when you left?
Well, when I left Afghanistan, it was probably 1991 or 92, so I can't remember exactly. But it was like a civil war, especially in Kabul. I was living in there, and there was fighting between the factions and different parties, political parties of Mujahideen.
What fractions were those?
Like the Gulbuddin Hikmatyar one, or Hizb Wahdat, or Sayaf, there was a couple of the warlords, there was fighting in between themselves over the power.
Different warlords.
Yeah.
Did they have drug lords at those times?
No.
So there's no drug lords then?
Yeah, they were mostly warlords.
Okay, so the Russians have been pushed out?
Yeah, so the Russian was out, and I think it was a couple of years of Dr. Najib government, who was like pro-Russian government. So after the fall of his government, there was a big war in certain areas of Kabul, especially in the west, which I was born there. But I had to move to a different part of Kabul, to the safer, for a couple of, months or something. And then they moved to Pakistan.
Is Kabul as big as London?
Well, yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. I think now it is. On that time, it was not a lot of population, but now it's more people.
More people.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you find coming to England?
Well, at the beginning it was difficult because of, even though I speak some English, it was a bit strange for me because I couldn't understand people with the accent and how they was talking, but it was okay, I started studying and going to colleges and then university and then working, so it's been great. I feel like home now.
Okay, that's good. So you feel well rooted, and you're just part of who you are. That's good. So obviously we've heard a lot about the Afghanistan situation today, where people, the news has painted a picture, but I'm very interested to hear your point of view as an Afghan.
Yeah, my point of view at the beginning, especially, everybody was very upset, especially with the Americans, because everybody was like relying on Americans as a friend, and especially the ordinary working class Afghans, the educated class. Everybody was really disappointed why we've been left alone, and we've been handed over to the Taliban, because that's how everybody felt, and actually a lot of people are still feeling like that because of the Doha deal they done with the Taliban. So basically the American gave them a green light to do the peace and talks and stuff. So everybody was happy. Everybody was very sad, especially the scenes in the Kabul airport and this sort of stuff. But I think
Did you have family there, sorry?
Yeah, I had family there actually. One of my friends was there, and he was stuck in the Kabul airport, and at the time there was an explosion. So actually there was on the BBC News or Sky News, I was watching that there might be some sort of terrorist explosion. So I called my friend, I asked him, where are you? He goes, I'm in the airport. I said, quickly go home. So he went home, and a couple of, I think, half an hour or 1 hour later, there was an explosion. So luckily he survived.
Okay, that's good. So is it a good thing or a bad thing that the Taliban have moved in? And my other question would be, did you foresee that the Taliban would win?
Actually, no. Nobody was thinking. Everybody, the way that things was in the media and stuff, so everybody was thinking that the government is quite strong and they have a very strong army and stuff. So nobody was thinking that Taliban will take over or they will win. But now since they are there, so they're not as bad as the first time they were there. So things are a bit better. But the only problem is at the moment in certain areas, there's no schoolgirls. So that's the main concern I think everybody's having because of the girls' schools. I think you can't go from after year 6 to year 12. So you can't go to schools in certain, but in certain factions of Taliban and certain provinces, there are schools up to for the older girls, but not in not all over Afghanistan.
So even though the Taliban's one organisation, they have different rules within different fractions of the Taliban.
Yeah. Some fractions are moderate, some fractions are hardliner. So the provinces which is like run by the moderate Taliban, so there are more schools like Mazar-e-Sharif, or I'm not sure about Mazar-e-Sharif. For some provinces there are schools, but the only concern everybody, a lot of Afghans has, is because of this girls' schools. And I think Taliban is using that one as a bargaining chip with the other Western countries or the international communities, because they want to get a leverage or maybe more funding and stuff.
Oh, so the West are funding the Taliban then?
Yeah, they need funding because their assets has been frozen. Afghan government assets has been frozen, so Taliban has no access to them, and they need money.
Don't they have a different way of dealing with money in business?
Well, they have taxes and stuff, but I don't think there's enough to generate a lot of money to pay everybody. And everybody's salary is capped at 12,000 Afghanis, you know. Because before you would get...
How much is that? 12,000? Is that 12,000 Afghanis a month?
Probably £100.
A month?
Yeah. Because that's one of the main problems at the moment, because the security and law and order is better than before, but the only issue is the economy issue now, because people doesn't have jobs, and if they do have jobs, the Taliban, they can't afford to pay you more than 12,000 Afghanis, which is £100 or 110 or 120 pounds. So that's not enough to survive. Because before, when the American times, people had better wages or salaries. Like some people had, like in the good positions, probably $1,000, $1,200. But now it's everything is capped at 12,000 Afghanis.
Okay.
So,
is there what are the positives about the Taliban being there?
The positive is like everything, the whole Afghanistan is controlled by the Afghans. So even though they're Taliban, they're hardliner, they're not invaders or foreigners, you know. So that's one of those aspects of the people. But everybody's not happy with the Taliban, the whole population. But the majority is happy, because there's a lot of the common people don't mind about who is in power, is it Taliban or if it's any other factions. Everybody wants peace. So at this peace in Afghanistan, you can visit a lot of provinces and stuff, which you couldn't do it before. Before you could not go out of the big cities. If you go, you'll be kidnapped or you'll be taken hostage by Taliban or other people. But now there is more peace and stability. But the main issue is the economy.
Okay. You're from Kabul.
Yeah.
Have you been back there on holiday? Or great family or anything?
I think last time I was there probably a couple of years ago, like back in 2018.
Really?
Yeah, so I haven't been.
So when you're going, do you get questioned a lot by the government? Like, why are you going there? Or they just...
No.
Okay.
No, they just stamp your passport, no question at all.
Alright, that's good.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Even now, you know, when you go, because a lot of my friends, the families, they've been there, especially even in Taliban times, no. The only issue is now the tickets are more expensive, and you have to do a lot of transits because of the sanctions and restrictions, because a lot of airlines doesn't want to fly there. So I'm not sure what's the reasons, because...
Were they scared they're going to get shut down, or is it part of...
No, I think
it's
mostly to do with the insurance and all these sort of stuff, because the Taliban government is not recognized by any government around the world.
Okay.
So basically, the insurance companies are quite high. So that's why.
Trying to muscle them into taking the financial situation.
Exactly. So I think if you wanted to go, I wanted to go this summer for a couple of days, and the ticket was like £2,800. Usually, and I think the highest ticket you could get, like Emirates to Kabul, a good airline, for £1,000. So
okay.
that's the issue.
What does the future hold for Afghanistan, do you think?
I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping it's good because
Yeah, but what would be good to you?
good peace, prosperity, the Taliban working with everybody, because the Taliban, one of their policies that they don't want to, one of their policies I think which is good for Afghanistan, they have a neutral policy towards other countries. So they said they don't want to interfere in other countries' matters, and also they don't want to, it's called, yeah, so basically they said they're trying to, and based on their agreement with the Americans they had in Doha, they said they will not let Afghanistan to be used as a platform to be used against terrorism on other countries.
Okay.
So I'm hoping the Taliban and the international community that do some deals which is good for the people of Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
So people doesn't have to suffer from hardship or economic problems.
Okay, that's good. If you had a magic pen,
Yeah.
you could finance anything in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
What would you change and finance, and why?
I think first thing will be the education, because invest in a lot of money in education, and the other thing is invest in water resources, because Afghanistan has a lot of water, but we don't have enough. We don't produce enough food, because we need to build dams or canals to do irrigations, and people will be like in jobs, and that's what Afghan people are good in, like in irrigations and doing jobs and keeping livestock and stuff, so they're self-sufficient in food. So if people are not hungry anymore, then they'll be more happier,
Okay, that's good. That's good.
And I think the education, if you educate people, then they'll be able to help each other, help the community, the country, and they can have better integration with other people around the world.
What was your take when you saw the 9/11 and then you found out that they're going to attack Afghanistan based on what a person from another country allegedly did?
Well, basically, first, on that time, people was quite fed up with the Taliban, because they was very strict, and people was on that time. I think people was quite happy. Well, we see the American will come and help us get rid of the Taliban and stuff, but later on, down the 20 years line, the American was there, so they done. So I don't know how to put it. People wasn't very happy, because end of the day, when somebody invade your country, you're no longer the boss of your own country. Like even the president we had, they couldn't do much, because they had limited powers. Because anytime they want to do some good, and if it wasn't in the best interest of American foreign policy, they don't allow the president to do the job. So each job he has to do, he has to take authorization from the Americans, and the American was like not supporting the president. He was supporting all the crap to all those mujahideen, So the mujahideen had turned into like businessmen, which are now in Dubai and London and Turkey with loads of money they bring from Afghanistan. They were stealing, and the government had very little power and very symbolic, So there was a lot of corruption in Afghanistan. And a lot of corruption wasn't done by the Afghans, it was done by the Americans as well, because they was handing out these contracts to the warlords instead of like oil, food supply, all these sort of things, which is very lucrative businesses. And these warlords had more power than the president, so that's why, if you're a president of Afghanistan and you can't do a lot of stuff, then there's no point. So that's why in these 20 years, nothing. It had some good things that happened, but like a lot of things wasn't done the way they should have been done.
It's been very interesting talking to you. I do appreciate you giving your personal point of view. Would you go back and live in Afghanistan?
Yeah, definitely. If it's like peace and prosperity, definitely.
Okay, even though the fact that you'd have to pay for free medical care.
Well,
if you needed it.
It's not that expensive there in Afghanistan, I know.
Yeah, but you want the best as well.
You want the best. But anyway, I believe that sort of guy, when your time is up, no matter you know, how rich you are. They might help you to live longer, you know, but you can't live forever, you know. When the time is up, you know, you get sick, you have an accident, something happens, you know, you go. That's how life it is, you know.
Yeah, it sure is. How life goes.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for that, and we wish you well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day, as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.